The second question, bad things, sins, punishment. Maybe. Maybe. Meaning I don't want you to sort of think that afflictions are entirely by your own necessarily. Though, sure, sins or evil things we do, even if it's on the level of a thought, an evil thought you generate, you're going to pay for it. You haven't even translated it into words yet. Nobody knows that evil thought, but it's in your mind. You're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it immediately, and it's going to come. So long it lives in your mind, you're going to pay for it more and more. You put some water and you grow it, now it becomes a big fat tree in your mind, you're going to pay for it. It mushrooms all over the mind and it becomes persistent. It's a steady scene in your mind. You're going to pay for it. It takes all that there is in your mind. You're going to pay for it already. And if you don't feel you're paying for it, you're actually suffering double issues. The lack of sensation and understanding that you are actually paying for it, and also growing some evil things. So I don't want to say that when you do evil, when you say bad things to other people, when you hurt people, when you lie to people, when you steal, when you cheat, I'm not saying you do that, but I'm saying when people do that. These things, Islamically speaking, have immediate ramifications, immediate consequences, not later. Oftentimes we think, oh, only if I do things, I will be held accountable. In the day of judgment, you're right, not in the dunya. In the day of judgment, if you've had an evil thought and you never translated it into word or action, it will be registered. It's only in your record, but you'll be exonerated from the punishment for it, out of Allah's mercy. You just had a thought, you didn't translate it, but that's only in the day of judgment. In the dunya, you're paying for it. You're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay for it in so many ways. The mere negative thoughts. Why do you think the Prophet ﷺ في صحيح البخاري Muslim الحديث عن أبي هريرة إياكم والظن فإن الظن أكذب الحديث. Be careful of bad thoughts, for bad thoughts are the most evil of things. Be careful of giving birth to negative and evil thoughts in your mind. It's like you're taking poison and dumping it in your heart. Okay, more poison. You're just toxicity. You're just dumping toxins and more toxins, and you expect things to be good. Hey, you're going down, my brother. All right. So, having said that, could sins then be linked to afflictions? Maybe, but not necessarily. Maybe. Don't try to sit and guess what Allah Ta'ala definitively knows, and definitely don't make that remark, because if you do, you're trying to say I know what Allah knows, and you don't. You know how some people, when some natural disaster happens, they say, oh yeah, look, they've deserved it, they've done this. How do you know? How do you know what they deserve? How do you know you don't deserve worse? You may deserve worse, but Allah does not give you that. Don't try to put yourself that you know Allah's knowledge. You don't. Humble yourself before Him. Allah does not like those who are arrogant. And arrogance always comes with ignorance. Be careful. Be careful of accusing others of things you think you're better, that makes you indirectly self-righteous. Oh, alhamdulillah, it didn't happen to me, it happened to them. You never know. Allah Ta'ala, essentially, Allah Ta'ala gives in the form of giving and in the form of depriving. We give in the form of giving in general, but even then, but Allah Ta'ala gives always, either through giving or through depriving. It's just that we're upset because we don't understand that depriving is actually giving. because we look at things from a certain perspective, 60, 70-year timeline, and we have only one linear dimension that we see. We don't have the knowledge that's encompassing and all that, so we make judgment based on a very simplistic view of what things are. But that's not to belittle the sins and the consequences of sins either.